we are recording this webinar as well, and we will put it up on our YouTube site, so you can access it later if you'd like to refresh your memory on things that we show today. Through the presentation, I will show some of the reports that's in the top list, but again, happy to take requests on any of the ones that you'd like to see. Now, starting off, first an overview of how our support process works. We usually accept support requests usually through our support ticketing system, and that's our preferred method. You'll see the URL for the support site on your screen now. Accounts for the support ticketing system are created on request basis. So we would you would let us know who you want to be able to put through support tickets on behalf of your organization, and we will create accounts for them and send the details through. It can also be a generic account if you'd so want. The next preference mode is emailing, so just email directly to me and or Rebecca, and we will attend to that support. And last one is the phone one. I do receive a lot of phone supports as well, so happy to accept those calls as well. So, but preferably we'd like to reserve the phone one for urgent queries. Next screen that you're seeing here is our support process. The way the support process works is you, the client, would ideally create a support ticket or even email or even if it's a phone call. And then that gets assigned to one of our team members here. And we evaluate and look at that ticket or that request. And if we can action it immediately, we do that. Otherwise, in cases where things are a bit more complicated and require net dimensions feedback, we send it through to net dimensions. We open a ticket with them, and they come back to us with a proposed solution, which then we action. If there's more information that is required, we will put it back to you, and you would probably see on your ticketing system a column that says assigned to me. And if that says yes, that means we are waiting for some information from you before we can action the ticket. Following that process, we take action to resolve the issue and let you know that the issue has been resolved. Then you have the option to close that ticket or have us close the ticket. Usually, if a ticket is assigned to you and we have not had a response within the next 30 days, we would close that ticket, citing ticket timeout. But you are free to reopen that ticket if the issue is still persisting or it has reoccurred. Some of our support contacts. If you have questions or queries about account management, Rebecca's the person to call. Her details are now on your screen. Peter himself can also deal with account management queries, and his details are there as well. In terms of support, the main support contact is myself. My details, a lot of you already know, but it's still there. So, yep, just let me know. But then, as I mentioned, our preferred support query is through the support ticketing system. Moving on, we are now into the NTS reports area. So there are Few categories for NTS reports are organization reports, learning reports, compliance, certification, exam and questions, system, the report wizard, and the last is any client-specific or custom reports that you'd like us to create for you. Organization reports. Some of you may know it as a different kind called, it may be called LMS hierarchy reports. It could be called organization hierarchy report on your system. The labels may have changed, but all of these reports deal with the learning hierarchy, or in which the reporting structure is set up in your organization for learning and management. The next category, learning, are mostly about modules and courses and sessions. So any module specific, any courses specific, any session specific reports can be generated in this category. Third one, compliance report, are mostly for checking out if a module's target status has been met. So those reports where you've got a target to be met in terms of compliance, you can check out the compliance reports. Certification reports, if you've got certificates attached to your modules or courses, the certification reports would give you reports about certificates that are about to expire, which users have got those certificates, and things like that. The fifth one in line is the exam question reports. The exam question reports give you a summary of reports where you can look at who has done an exam, how much they got, what question was in that exam, what answers were put in for each some of the questions, and things like that. System reports, and this may not be available to all of you. System reports is available to clients who has opted to manage and configure their own system. Usually, clients who have opted to go with configuration and management through us, the system reports is not available to you. We manage that for you. We are happy to send you reports on if you have a specific requirements, and we can generate the report and send it through. Last one, second last one, I should say, Report Wizard is another tool for generating reports. This gives you a little bit of more freedom than the standard reports. You can create your report and select the columns you want. You can set the filter criteria, and you can also generate it and schedule it and deliver it out to different people. Report Wizard also has a lot of report types that is not in the standard reports. Later we will see which reports they are, or report types rather. The last one is client-specific and custom reports. So these are the reports which you would have us create for you, reports that cannot be generated out of any of those previous categories. This is something that we would quote you for, and we will undertake that work and create that report and link it to your system and make it accessible to you. Now we'll have a look at some of the top reports for each of the categories. The top NTS reports for organization reports. We've got 107, which is a course transcript data. This basically gives you the a learner's transcript record for a particular organization. We will try and have a look at one of those. You should see our demo system come up on your screen there. I will go to organization reports. And we'll scroll down to 107. The beauty of these standard reports, as you've already known, those who have used reports already, is that they are consistent in how they come up when you open it, the parameter lists. So all you need to do is set the parameters and they get generated. Allows you to select your format, your criteria, and then you just hit run now in browser to view the report. One question I've always been asked, especially from clients who are new to the system, is how do I get the criteria windows up? Because at times it's not obvious how you'd put something in there. So all the reports, the labels are clickable, and that allows you to bring up the window where you can select your criteria. I will select this one, all for this report. And I will do an HTML1 output format, which means I want to see it on my PC here. I will leave the date criteria empty, and we run it. As you can see, this is a course summary transcript report showing me this user who's in process status, when they started, when they finished, the performance grade that's been awarded by the instructor, the score that they would have gotten in that particular course, and their organization structure, and the course language. In the newer versions of NTS, you can actually have multiple courses with different languages. So that language column has been added to show which language this course was in, and also the learning type, whether it was an online or a face-to-face. So that's basically how you would run a report. All the standard reports are generated in the same way, using the same process. The only thing that is different is the columns that show up, the data that shows up, and the criteria that you put in. Some of the other reports that are very helpful in the organization reports is 108, course transcript data, but this one is only for online modules. So clients who's only interested in online modules and are not using face-to-face type modules, the best report for you to run from organization report for course transcripts is 108, because that will for sure only bring up only the online modules. 109 is a very, very helpful report if you want all information that is stored, all user information that is stored in the system for users. You can run that, and you can use this to modify as well as then upload the data onto the system with the modified records. We will have a look at that as well. (109). Again, you can see the criteria areas are same. What we can do here is we would select CSV at the output format, and if we select include only the header row and the data rows, what this does is this generates the report in a CSV format ready to be uploaded back into the system with your changes. Again, we will click the criteria box and we'll go for all. Hitting run now in browser. And as you can see, all the information for a user that's stored on the system has been downloaded in a format, in a CSV format, and this can then be uploaded back onto the system from the user data loader. We will look at user data loader in one of our webinars later, how to use that user data loader to upload user information. But this report 109 will give you the data in a perfect format to be ready to be uploaded through the user data loader. Next, we've got 114 and 112. 114, which is a direct staff training report. Although the name does not quite say exactly what this is for or who this is for, it is actually for managers. 114 is a helpful report for managers to look at users, learning history of users that are directly reporting to them. So if you're thinking of handing out, excuse me, if you're wondering how to hand out a report to a manager so that they can see the transcript reports of their direct appraisees, 114 is the one to give to them. 112NL is a competency user progress by organization. So those of you who are using job profiles and competencies, in other words, the learning path that you see on your system. Okay, we'll just quickly have a look at that. So this area, the learning path area, the reports for those competencies and job profiles that you see in that learning path can be generated using 112NL and 116 and 131. And also, we have got 118, which is appraisal status report. Those of you who have got the performance management of the system, version of the system, you can run appraisal status report to check out what users are doing in terms of their performance appraisal, where they are at, what the status is. R124 is again bit related to the performance appraisal. This allows you to see our report, our progress report of users who have been assigned a goal, and you can then check that out and take action as necessary based on that. We will move on to the next category, learning reports. Now, as you can see, the learning reports is a bit longer list than the organization one because most reports that you need come from the learning reports, and they are all targeted towards learning modules, courses, and sessions. The most common request I get at times in support is, how do I run a report that gives me a quick overview of a person's status in modules? And a lot of you, um, failing to find that report, go and actually go through the hard task of creating a report, wizard report, to get that report out. So R202 is the report to use for that quick look at who is doing what. We will have a look at that report as well. Oh, well. So we've got this particular module we've selected, which is an online one, and we can see that this person is in process. We've got attendance. For face-to-face, you'd see whether they have attended or not, yes and no. But values for attendance only show up if the instructors have gone and marked their attendance from their menu. Again, we'll see how an instructor's menu work later in one of the other webinars. So this one is a quick report to give you a status of the user's status on a particular module. Next one, which I think is helpful in those reports, is R205NL, which shows you all the certificates that a person has been awarded. R209 is a participant's report on a particular module. So this one is a little bit like 202, not exactly. It's got some extra stuff in it that are managed by the instructors. So information from there comes into this 209. We will have a look at that as well. One common thing you would notice in these different categories is, in the organization, you saw that organization filter or criteria was mandatory. It was you always required to select an organization. In the learning one, you have to select a learning module or a learning module session. Let's see if we go test classroom. As you can see, this one's got a few extra fields here. And it has got the performance grade, the exam score, the highest score, recommendation, general comment. All of these are managed by instructors or managers if they are given permissions, and definitely by admins. And if you want to see these information, this is the report to use, 209. Now, 209 gives you the report for all participants. However, there's a version of this available as for individual participants as well. You can use that if you want to look at individual participants report. 210E is a simple attendance attendance report, which you can print out in PDF format. This helps the instructors during face-to-face report to get signatures and mark attendance for learners. We can have a look at that as well. So over here, you'll have the details of the course at the top. Then you've got rows with the learner's name and their place for their signature, and a place for instructors to put in some remarks or comments. And then you've got the instructor's name and signature, and they can put a summary of how many people were there on the day. So this is a very quick and simple and a nice attendance sheet that, or a signature sheet that you may call it that, which you can use to mark attendance for users. Other reports that we have got is R211, participants report on particular learning programs. This is similar to R209, but this one is only for learning programs, or some of you may know it as blended learning. R224 is list of past completed participants according to CMI lesson status, which means that this is for online modules, and this is based on what the course that SCORM module or the SCORM course that is attached to that online module sends to the LMS. So, for example, if a user has gone through a SCORM course, and at the end the SCORM course says you have got 80% and you have passed, the SCORM module would send either passed or completed to the LMS. So that information that SCORM module sent is stored in the LMS, and R224 is the report that you can use to check that out. So this is not a report that will give you what the LMS is stored for a user, whether an admin made them went and completed them, but this is from the module itself, from the SCORM package itself. R225, same thing, but only for failed, incomplete, and people who are not enrolled. R230, this is a report a lot of you may not be aware of and may not have used, but this is a very handy one when you're generating out name badges and nameplates and mailing lists for face-to-face courses, and you can generate out those all at once. You can even have your own templates for those, and it comes really handy because all you are doing is selecting the module and its sessions. So if you can see this, here you go. This is how they would look like. Printable name badge. This is the mailing list. And this is the nameplate. So you can easily generate that out of the system, and you can have your own template for that. If you want the logo changed, you can have the logo changed and print that out when you need it. R235 is a list of users not enrolled in a program or module. I've had this query multiple times from clients where they want to say, okay, I've got a course, but I know who's enrolled, but I want to see who has not been enrolled. So R235 would give you that. R242, pending approvals report. This report is helpful when you've got approvals for enrolling into course. So for example, let's say you've got a course which requires manager's approval before users can get enrolled into it. So R242 will give you a list of people who are still pending approvals for a course, and you can then take action based on that. R250, this is same for managers. This is also a report for managers, just like the one we saw before in the organization reports, which was 114. 250 is a similar kind of report, but this is based on a course's catalog. So you can choose a course catalog or categories or libraries, as some of you know it, catalog as, and you can run this report based on those catalog libraries or categories, and get a report for managers to look at their direct appraisees. R263. A lot of you may have seen a little checkbox on module properties when you go to create modules. It says indicated interest, show indicated interest. What that means is this allows users to search for a course and say that they are interested in doing that course. And R263 would give you a list of users who have indicated their interest to do a particular course. Moving on to the next category, we've got our R501, which is a module completion target status. What this allows you to do is report on a module which has got a completion target assigned to it. So R501 will not be helpful if you've got a course that doesn't have a completion target. It'll only come helpful when you've got a completion target and you want to see who has met that target. R502 is a similar kind, but for programs. We'll have a look at that. As you can see over here, this is for this particular blended learning or learning program. It's got the user's ID and the modules that are in that blended learning and total number of participants and how many of them are compliant. So you can see by users as well as a summary at the bottom. R509 is another one for module completion, audit, compliance. Next one in the category are certification reports. A lot of you have probably used these reports or use them quite often. R601 gives you a report of certificates that are about to expire. And R602 will give you people who have not been certified in a particular certificate. We'll have a look at R601. So we can see Jack Peterson got the certificate applied first date, and it is expiring in June 1st, 2019. So you can run this report to look at when certificates, a particular certificate for users are about to expire, and you can then use that to either notify them or re-enroll them into a refresher, or even have them take that information out and give them a print out a certificate for them. Next in that category is the exam questions report. We've got R301, which is a summary report. What this does is lists all the questions in an exam and tells you how much, what percentage of people answered which question. We'll have a quick look at this. It looks something like this. You've got the exam, and you've got the questions here, and it tells you how many answers, which answer got how many responses, and which one was the correct one. Also in bracket tells you the MacBook was the correct answer for this, and 100% got that, and things like that. So it'll give you a summary of the answers in a question for a particular exam, and which answer was selected mostly. R304, those of you who are using surveys and feedbacks in your system, it could be an employee survey, employee feedback survey. R304 is the report to use to get that report. R305 will give you score and status of a user in a particular exam. R309 is similar to R301, except this is only questions and their responses in a matrix format, i.e. the questions are in a column format. R310 is a list of users who have not taken an exam. So if someone has not, who have been assigned an exam but have not started it, have not done it, this will give you the names of those users. R313 is the exam results, basically giving you who has passed, failed, and what they got. R318 is only for evaluation type of exams. So if you have attached an evaluation with a module or a course, this one will give you all the responses for questions for that particular evaluation. Next in category is the systems report. System reports, as I mentioned earlier, is not available to all. Only clients who are managing their own configuration of the system are the ones who can view the system reports. Most common requirement in this case was, what are the new users on my system? R407 will give you that list. Also, if you have got auditing turned on your system, R408 is will give you the logins in defined period. R409 is an audit log listing. Again, you have to have auditing turned on for this. This will give you a list of users what they have done on the system, if they have run a report, have they done a group enroll, have they searched for a course. Depending on the audit level set on your system, this report will generate those logs. Now, two words about the auditing is it is very helpful when it's turned on, but if it is turned on to the full extent, it does put a little bit of toll on your system. And what it also does is it grows your database a lot because it is recording pretty much everything. So our suggested level for auditing is start with low, and then if required, move to medium. R410, those who have got payment turned on your system, online payment, you can use this to see all the payment transactions. 412 is, again, another indicated interest listing, which is the same as the one we saw under learning reports, but this is for system admins, gives more all users all over the system. 418, 419, and 420 are, again, helps you when you're configuring your system or modifying configuration in your system. This allows you to download role accesses of the users, different roles, and what they can and cannot see on the system, their permissions, and allows you to download it so that you can later upload it using the CSV data loader with your changes. Job profile and competency export does the same thing, but this is for job profile and competencies. So you can modify competencies and then upload this back again into the system with your changes. Next category is Report Wizard. Report Wizard, as I said, is a very handy tool when all the standard reports will not cater for your requirements. You can use the Report Wizard to create your own reports and use that to generate and schedule reports that you want. There are also few report types that you will not find in the standard reports that you can find in the Report Wizard. I've listed them here. Courseware information. So courseware information is basically information on courses that were created using the authoring tool that is built into the LMS. So you will not find that a report for this under one of the standard reports, but you will find it through the Report Wizard, and you can create your own one. Learning program detail is another one where the standard reports don't quite give you exactly at times what you want. This learning program detail report would actually allow you to report on the program or the blended learning, as some of you may know it as, the modules that's in it, the status and the scores and everything that you'd want, and that is attached to that blended learning, and you can run that report. Training history report is there as well. I've listed that simply because although all of those R202 and other ones will give you training history, there are sometimes that one extra column that you need is not coming up on that standard reports, and this training history will allow you to get that extra column in. So you can design a Report Wizard report exactly like R202, but then add an extra column that you want, let's say the user's email. So this will allow you to do that. Training history external. This is another report that is not available on the standard. The external one are reports on external training history that's been uploaded into the system. Those of you who have not used external training history, what it does is allows you to keep a track of courses that you may have done prior to joining the organization or even during the organization that is being conducted by an external vendor. You can record that and upload the certificate and things like that. So, for example, if you have done your bachelor's before joining the organization, and one of the requirement is for you to have that certificate up there for reference. Training history external will allow you to do that, and this particular report will allow you to report on it. The next one is user information. Again, R109 pretty much gives you everything that you want for a user. However, you may want a truncated one. So Report Wizard will allow you to create something like that. User appraisal, same thing. Appraisal reports available in under standard reports, but if you want a few extra things in there, user appraisal type is the one to use. Last one is withdrawn student details. This is again another report that is not available under standard reports, not specifically for withdrawn students. There is 202 and the other ones where you will find people who have been withdrawn, but withdrawn student details is only specific for users who have been or learners who have been withdrawn from a course. We will now have a look at the report wizard and have a go through of our report wizard. The way to use Report Wizard is, first of all, you go Create Report, and that pops up a window like that. The Report Wizard requires you to put an ID, which is identification code. It cannot have spaces. It can, however, have hyphens or underscores. It cannot have any special characters. So let's just say I'll create one for user. When you click here, you'll see all the types of report that's available. You select the one that is most close to the type of report you want. So a way to select the reporting type is to first understand what it is exactly that you want in the report. So do you want the person's transcript history? Do you want to see whether the person has completed the module or which module has completed and things like that? So you would go and select training history. If it was only the external training history that you wanted to look at, then you would go and select training history external. So before you select report type, it is always helpful to know exactly what sort of report you are after. If it's just a module information, details about the module, then while training history will also give you that, but probably module information would be the best type of report to use. So in this case, we'll go with an user information one, and then I hit columns, and I've got all the different sections with the fields that I can add or columns that I can add in. And let's say I will go with the first name, last name, and email. And I would also want the organization. If you hover over the columns in the list, it'll tell you what they will be output. So over here, if we hover over organization name, you'll see in the example how that field's data is going to come out if I select that. If I go organization ID, then it picks up only the internal code that the LMS stores, which is usually an EKP number. So we will go with organization name, and those are the fields that I'll select. What this user information report also allows you to do is add in user extensions. So these are extended user attributes that you can add on to a user profile. A lot of you use it for different kinds of information that you want to store with the user. So this will also allow you to report on user attribute extensions. Remember to save over each thing you do. Then you've got a grouping, so you can group by any of this, so you can have a count, sum, average, depending on the report type you're running. In this case, we want to see details, so I will not select any grouping. You can order your columns, so I want first name first, then the last name, and then I can go email, and then the organization stream. So I can drag and drop and sort them to my liking. Then I've got filters. I'll go with a filter and say I want everyone with a particular organization code, and I can add that in. Well, let's say all. I can also choose it to be case insensitive, so that regardless of how I have set up my organization code, it will still come up. It doesn't have codes, but this is, as you can see, this has given me the fields that I have selected only, and in the format that in the order that I set. Over here, when we go to the last summary area, we'll see it allows me to change the output format, just like the standard reports. In addition to it, it also has a few other checkboxes, which says, one, show individual organization unit in separate columns. So you know how you've got your organization structure in different hierarchy. So this one will put them each in one column, separate column for each. If you untick it, they'll all be in one column with the slash parameter, slash delimiter. And the next one is show duplicate records. So if there are duplicate records, the report will show it. If we untick it, it will go through and take out all the duplicate records, but which means that the report will be slower because it is performing that extra task. You've got the permissions here, which allows you to hand this out to anyone who you think should be able to view this report. So if it was a report that you generated specifically for managers, you can set the permission so that the only managers can have a look at this. And like all other reports, you can schedule this report as well. The schedule pretty much works the same way for other reports as well as this. What you do is you click schedule, and it asks you how you want to schedule the report. You can run a daily one, weekly, or monthly, or only once, and you select a date when you want to start it and when you want to run it. And you can select users who would get a notification that this report has been generated. You can also attach a copy of the report, and you can either use the system's file name or you can put a file name of your own. And you've got a notification email that goes to the persons who have been selected here, and they will receive a copy of the report as well. And then all you do is that schedule, and this report is scheduled. How can we see a scheduled report? Under reports, there's a menu called scheduled reports, and you will see all the reports that you have scheduled there, and you can change them there as well. Going back to Report Wizard again, I've been asked at times whether it is possible to add criteria outside of the filters that are set in this tab. And the answer is yes. For that, what we need to do is click on that Advanced tab, and that brings up a few extra tabs. And what these extra tabs does is extended tables, which means you can add another. You can use a table to. You can add a table which will have, which would bring up the values for any field that doesn't have a data for it. The sorting, you can sort. You can change the sort order. So currently it's first name, last name, email, and organization. I could change it to say last name first, sorting, and then first name. And that will change the sort order. Now, edit SQL is where you would put your custom SQL in. This will require a little bit of knowledge, but only basic knowledge of SQL, so that you can write the SQL you need for the criteria. So, for example, if I wanted to only look at a particular user, so I would have added my criteria in and say, and let's say a user's given name. You can select from here. I can go equal, like that. Or if I wanted multiple, like that. So a little bit of knowledge of SQL is required for you to do this, but like I said, only basic SQL knowledge, and this would allow you to put any custom criteria that you want on a report wizard and generate it out. So that ends our report wizard area. And we've got this whole report listing, the full report listing in on our support site. You can download it from that link. Now I am open.
Yeah.
Have you got any questions? Hello? Unmuted. Can everyone's unmuted. Can you unmute it? If you cannot, can't hear any questions. So maybe use the chat window to type in your question if your mic's not working.
Does anyone have any reports that they'd like to go over again, or any questions?
Okay, in that case, we will wrap up for the day. Let us know if you have any questions. Send an email to Rebecca with your questions, or to me. If you'd like me to go through anything specific, we can arrange a separate time for this. And and we welcome your feedback on this. And thank you for attending.